Minister, I have produced tomatoes. I have about 120 boxes. I'm not getting buyers. What can you do to help me? I called one of the buyers we are working with. And he said, oh, Honorable, can you send me a picture of the produce? So we forwarded the picture to him. And he said, tomorrow I will be there to buy everything. The next day, he went there and bought everything. Because the variety was what they are looking for. No, there are some processing plants here in Ghana that we are working with them. They have the plants located in some areas. But the location of the plants are far, far, far away from the production point. So we are playing that facilitation role of bringing the producers and the buyers together. And so, as for tomatoes, our approach is working to perfection.
So yes, my
the Agogo case,
right.
We are now putting in place mechanisms to avoid the recurring of that situation, where the farmers will have to make noise before we intervene. That is not.
What is the strategy to ensure that?
The strategy is that I will be there with them. Either, in fact, the initial plan was to be there on Tuesday, but just this morning I've received some information, and I have to change that to probably Wednesday. If we get there on Wednesday, what we are going to do, we are going with the buyers. We'll give them the seed, we introduce the buyers to them, and then when they are planting, the buyers will also be there to set up the mini processing plant. So that immediately they harvest, the buyers will be there to buy. We are doing this for one important reason. My dear, you know, in this country, 30% of all the food that is produced go waste. I mean, is it not ridiculous?
Yeah.
That after investing in food production, we sit down and allow 30% to go waste, post-harvest losses. We want to minimize that.
Right.
That's why we want the buyers to be on the field.
Right.
But
so how will this be replicated in other farming communities?
Good.
Because then the NDC had promised that it will ensure that there is a connection between farm gates and the marketplaces.
Yeah. So how will that happen? We have asked our farmers to constitute themselves into what we call community commodity-based cooperatives. In fact, we started the cooperatives campaign almost 3 months ago. Now, when we check our system, we have registered 65,126 cooperatives, and we are still counting.
I see.
Now, with these cooperatives in place, what do we seek to achieve? One, when they come together, producing in the same environment, producing the same commodity, they are likely to enjoy the advantages of economies of scale. Then again, the farmers will have a voice to be able to negotiate for reduction in cost of input, a voice to be able to negotiate for reasonable prices for their produce. So now we have the cooperatives in place. We are now going to deploy our technical people to go and educate them. Now, once you have the cooperative, access to
the market
finance becomes easy. Access to market becomes easy. Sitting in Accra, I can just go through the computer and tell you that tomato is being produced in this area because we have a cooperative there. They are into tomato production. Tomato is being produced here. So if we are asking the buyers to be in touch with them, it becomes a piece of cake.
I see. I mean, but will this mechanism be publicly available, or is only to buyers who register with the ministry?
No. You know, the cooperatives are entities everywhere in the country. So they are public entities that can be recognized, can be accessed at anyone's convenience.
Okay, I see.
So even if you decide to buy, let's say, maize, you can go to any of the cooperatives and have your own arrangement with them. In fact, we went and studied the system from Brazil. The president himself called me and said, Eric, this cooperative thing that we intend to do, can you go and look at the Brazil model? So I went to Brazil with my team. And what we saw was that the whole concept started from a family business, where a family into dairy farming realized that they were not earning so much from their farming activities because they would just go and sell the milk and then earn something later. Then they said, can we put ourselves into a cooperative and then look for loan to set up a processing plant so that we can sell our raw milk to the processing plant, and then they will add value, and then we can also make additional incomes.
Right.
So they went to the bank said, look, we can do it for you, but on one condition. If you can go to the Ministry of Agriculture for guarantee. They went to the minister said, yes, I will guarantee, but on one condition, that the money should not be given to you, but it should be used to set up the processing plant for you. And it was agreed. Now they set the processing plant, they establish it for them, they produce the milk, they sell to the plant. The plant is able to use the milk to produce 14, products. Cheese,
different
butter,
products.
A whole lot of them, and export. At some point, they decided that, look, let's check whether we have made some profit. You know how much they checked? They got, every member of the cooperative got $120,000 to expand their farms.
I see. So on the subject of vegetables then, can we then say, or do you even know whether or not it is having an impact on our imports from places like Burkina Faso?
Yes, it will have, because now Burkina Faso is putting in place mechanisms to stop exportation of tomato to Ghana, because they are also thinking about value addition.
Right.
So they are setting up processing plant to process their own tomato. But what we are doing now currently, we have a lot of sites, I think about 49 or more sites, where we have put the vegetable producers together and we are resourcing them to produce. And another critical area we are focused on, which is the foundation for agricultural revolution, has to do with irrigation.
We'll talk about irrigation.
No,
it's on the list to talk about.
When it comes to vegetable production, irrigation is critical.
Absolutely, and we'll talk about irrigation. But I just want us to, clarify some things you have mentioned before. When we look at the subgroups for food inflation,
yes,
we see that vegetables are doing well.
Yes.
So we are seeing it in reducing,
yes,
in reducing trend,
yeah,
right? But we don't see the same thing when it comes to our grains.
Yes.
What is happening with our grains? Are we still importing rice, as much as we used to?
As for rice importation, yes, we are importing rice. But from what we have picked from the field this year, our rice production will increase significantly this year. Because first, the weather has been favorable, and then we, from the ministry, distributed some seed to the farmers in some targeted areas. And from what we have observed, our rice production will increase significantly. But we cannot close the gap within 1 year because the gap is very huge. Consumption is estimated above 1 million, 1.5 million tons. That is consumption. And production is around 600 million.
Yeah.
So you can imagine. You cannot use 1 year to close the gap. But there's something that all of us must do. Because once we are thinking about feeding Ghana, we expect the people of Ghana to reciprocate our gesture by also eat Ghana. I hope I'm making sense. We are thinking about feeding Ghana, and that is why we are investing to increase production of food. The Ghanaian people, in whose interest we are doing all these things, must also reciprocate our efforts by also eating Ghana.
But how many tons of rice will we be producing at harvest?
In fact, I cannot give you the figure as you speak, but I can confidently and conveniently indicate that we are going to experience bumper harvest this year.
Right.
Because already, from even the southern sector, what we are seeing, we haven't seen that before.
Okay.
And we are receiving...
So we have a glut of grains as well.
Yes, in the southern sector. That is why the maize farmers are crying. In fact, what has delayed the intervention of the National Food Buffer Stock is what we call the price determination.
Okay.
We want to go to the market with a fixed price because the farmers are complaining to us that they have harvested the maize and the price has fallen so low that they cannot even recoup the investment they made in it because of the abundance. And this is the harvest season. So we want buffer stock to go into the market, mop up the excess now, and then store them. Then during the lean season, we will then release to also moderate prices in favor of the consumers.
But